I know he reached out to me, talking, tried to play me like I'm stupid. Then he tried to guilt me.
Ooh, we got some juice. She got the call. Nova got the call. Shut it down. Shut it down. By the way, that accountability that they're talking about involved no accountability whatsoever, and just involved endlessly and constantly defending Crazy Slick. It's so obvious, man. It's so obvious. What's a taunt? What's a taunt? What is a taunt? Guys, I'm getting taunted. Someone called me a retard pedo. I'm getting taunted. Yeah, I know that. Listen, there's going to be OTK people running defense. It's fine. I'm used to it now and I don't care. They can just stay mad. Okay, let's get into this. So, obviously, here's the situation, okay? You don't need a lawyer to read this, but without having the qualifications or knowledge, you're not going to know what the chances are of this actually going anywhere are, right? So all you've really got is just guesses. I don't know if there is anyone out there that is a lawyer or deals with defamation that is going to have some insight into this, but, you know, I just think that my perspective on it is I think people are dismissing it out of hand, and they're doing it by saying defamation's so hard to prove. And whilst that's true, I think there was a lot of crazy stuff that was happening back during the whole drama. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Okay, so what is the situation here? Discovery in this suit is intended to be conducted under Level 3 under Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. Plaintiff seeks monetary relief within the jurisdictional limits of the court in an amount of not less than $250,000, including damages of any kind, penalties, costs, expenses, prejudgment interest, and attorney's fees. And then it just lists off all the different people. And it just talks about the jurisdiction. This court has jurisdiction over this lawsuit because the amount of controversy exceeds the court's minimum jurisdiction requirements, and because all claims involved in the litigation relate to actions and omissions occurring or having effect within the geographic boundary of Travis County, Texas. Venue is proper on Travis County, Texas, because plaintiff is a resident of the county. So this is just like satisfying the criteria for it applying in Texas, right? Okay, that's pretty standard stuff. So then we get into the meat and potatoes. Here we go. So yeah. So it looks like all the blackballing stuff is going to come into play here, because they're probably going to argue that the person was harmed through not being able to stream or whatever, right? Rich is still an owner. I spoke about that before, about how OTK made a big deal out of publicly cutting ties with Richard. And there's some information that points to the probability that Richard still has an ownership of the company. And I don't know whether that's 100% true or not. It's just a couple of pointers towards it, essentially. But, you know. Yeah, anyway. Twitch streamers play video games online for the enjoyment and entertainment of an audience that, in turn, it's hard to financially divest. Yeah, but that's a bullshit excuse, isn't it? Because if that was true, why did they make a public statement saying they had? Like, that isn't a PR statement, isn't it? Purely to satisfy the public, if you can't actually divest in the way that they say. Did you see Mizkif tried to make that Henry guy stop covering it? No? How did he do that? I saw that Mizkif had apparently followed Henry Resilient on Twitter. How did Mizkif try and stop him from covering it? He messaged him. No way. Can you link me to that? Twitch streamers play video games online for the enjoyment and entertainment of an audience that in turn supports their business through donations, subscriptions, paid sponsorships, and promotions. Success can be measured through various means, such as by the size of a streamer's audience, number of subscribers, volume of donations, and number of sponsorships. And as audience size increases, the number of subscriptions, donations, and sponsorships will also increase, directly correlating to an increase in income. Oh, okay, let's watch this quickly.
After what I start digging up into him now, I'm like, I really don't want to know him. I don't care to know him. I know he reached out to me, talking, tried to play me like I'm stupid. then he tried to guilt me. Like, bruh, what the hell is your problem? Like, anyway, I'm not going to talk about what we said. If he want to expose it or whatever, it's nothing salacious. It's just him literally trying to like play me like I'm stupid, like little bro me or something like that. But what's crazy is,
no, Mizkif would never do that. Oh, as if Mizkif would ever do something like that. Come on now. No way.
I'm about 10
like when he came into my chat. Like when he came into my chat.
15 years older than everyone I'm talking about. I know I don't look it. I got that baby face. I know. But anyway, yes, there are some people called it out. He tried to stop me. Now, I don't want to say he tried to stop me because he technically didn't tell me to stop, if you want to be in literal terms, but some other account did. And I don't know if it's his burner account or what. Like, yo, cringe Kif. And then I start looking into him. I'm like, yo, who is this Mizkif?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, well, this time he didn't send Maya Higa, but that's because he's not dealing with a woman. He only sends Maya Higa if it's a woman that needs to be silenced, obviously. To be honest with you, obviously we've got to take his word for it. I don't know what was said or what wasn't said. I'd need to see the DMs to come to any firm conclusions about it. But what I will say is, based on my previous experience with Mizkif, he is absolutely 100% someone who would try. He's definitely someone that tries to flex his influence or power over like smaller creators to try and get them to like do something that he wants them to do. So, it's very common for him to try and flex his reach, which is why I think it just lends more credence to the idea that he did try and, do the Mahiga shit. Miz is the type of guy to Google himself. Yeah, definitely. He came to my stream and tried to throw shade at me about me talking about a suicide thing. Anyway, there we go. Interesting. Right, let's continue on. One of the most significant means of increasing audience size is for various streamers to stream jointly, thereby gaining access to each other's audience. A significant and important aspect of the streamer business is thus networking. While attending a friend's birthday party on January 19th, 2020, a party attended by a significant number of Twitch streamers who live and work in the Austin area, Miss Tucker was assaulted. Multiple witnesses are able to confirm that Jacob Rodriguez, a streamer known online as Crazy Slick and then residing in Leander, Texas, came up to Miss Tucker while she was unconscious and proceeded to touch and fondle private areas of a person while she was unconscious and sleeping. Mr. Rodriguez has been an immensely popular online streamer with over 70,000 subscribed followers on Twitch and over 264,900 total views on YouTube. Is it true that he's immensely popular? I don't know if Crazy Slick was ever immensely popular. I think he was popular because of his connections rather than him as a streamer, but maybe we're splitting hairs a bit over that. Yeah, it's not that much, really. Yeah, compared to... Well, yeah, that's true. Compared to her, sure. Compared to her. How big was she at the time? I believe she was like a 200 viewer Andy at the time this all happened, right? Nothing happened in the immediate aftermath of his assault. Plaintiff, concerned about the impact on her streamer career, decided to remain silent at that time and not publicly disclose the assault, although she did relevantly tell her friend Serena Powell, known online as Novaru. On or about July 6, 2021, Miss Powell publicly disclosed what had happened to Plaintiff via an online stream on the Twitch service. The same day, Plaintiff found herself confronted and ambushed by a group of other online personalities who confronted her at the home of a mutual acquaintance and ignored all entreaties to leave. Joe Fabiani, known online as Barry, David Mitch Jones, known online as Mitch Jones, and Maya Higa. Let's go. Higa began badgering Plaintiff, demanding to know the truth of what had happened and insisting that Rodriguez would never do something like that he was a good guy, while Higa also sought to cast doubt upon Plaintiff's memory of the event and knowledge of what actually happened. Ooh, we got some juice. We got a little bit of juice going on. As much as listen, as much as there's cope about this, all of this lines up so perfectly with Mizkif and Mizkif like being concerned about Crazy Slick, crying on that call about him, crying about what might happen, what might have happened to him. It all lines up way too perfectly. And then there's this idea of, oh, well, we couldn't find any hard evidence, so he's in the clear. It's such cope and such bullshit, man. Like, this all lines up too perfectly. What is that? Because it's not disputed that my Higa went round there, right? What is it they said that she went round for? Oh, she just wanted to find out what had happened. Well, then send her a text. Send her a text. Oh, what happened? And leave it at that. Why'd you have to go around there? So funny, man. So funny. Yep, and we still haven't seen the report. The report was never released. The report was never released, obviously. Anyway, listen, let's keep going. Having bedeviled plaintiff during a period of emotional distress with her personal concerns broadcast to the public at large, Higa sought to emotionally undermine and manipulate plaintiff, telling plaintiff that if she were to say something on the topic, then Higa knew, as a fellow woman, that plaintiff would be hated, and argued that plaintiff would become isolated in the Twitch streaming community. Jesus, man. Jesus. Well, I mean, look. Hey, Henry. How's it going, mate? Yes, Henry, I've played that clip of you on LSF. That was oh, so funny, man. You must be new to Reddit. Basically, if you go after OTK, Mizkif, any of the big streamers like that, LSF are full of people that love those streamers, so they're going to absolutely shit on you left, right, and center. But they think that you are. But they think you are because you're covering this. But, I mean, based on what I saw of your coverage, it seems like you're kind of skeptical about this going anywhere because you think that defamation's hard to prove. That seems to be the take that I got from your coverage. Anyway, guys, go and check out Henry Resilient if you get a chance. Great channel, great coverage. I'm sure there's going to be more of this to come. Cover the XQC Adept case. I'm not sure about the soundboard, though. That's the only thing I disagree on. I'm not a soundboard kind of guy. But other than that, we're good. Yes, very hard to prove. My rough take is that I think this could well get to the point where it's accepted by the court and then they settle before the discovery stage. But then, I don't know. What if Adrianah Lee is like dedicated to just destroying this, and she's willing to go all the way and just doesn't accept a settlement? If the court decides, hey, we're going to look at this and we're going to attend to this matter, and then OTK or whoever say, we'll offer you a settlement, and Adrianah Lee says, I don't accept the settlement and wants to push it all the way to court, what happens then? Would it have to eventually end up in court? My understanding is if they countersue, that will also open up discovery, which would mean that they then have to reveal things they probably don't want to reveal, right? Anyway, let's continue. Higa also sought to engage in further manipulation, telling plaintiff that Rodriguez was Miss Rendino's best friend, that's Mizkif, a roommate, and that Ms. Rendino could not bear to have his best friend cast out. Ms. Rendino, known as Mizkif, is an exceedingly influential online streamer, that's true, who has been claimed to have over 2 million followers across various social media sites such as Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. He is a co-founder of OTK, a popular online media company with 592,000 subscribers on YouTube and 192,000 followers on Instagram. Rodriguez has been acknowledged to be Ms. Rendino's best friend and roommate. At the time, Higa was in a relationship with Ms. Rendino and also a roommate with Ms. Rendino and Rodriguez. When plaintiff informed Higa she would be making a public statement, Higa intensely pressured plaintiff not to issue a public statement, to let Ms. Rendino simply speak about it instead, and when plaintiff instead that she would create a public statement utilizing the Twitlonger service, Higa would not depart but forcibly insisted on monitoring and editing what plaintiff wrote. Higa would not depart, would not leave plaintiff alone until Higa had edited and altered plaintiff's statement to suit Higa's own purposes. It's so weird seeing the legal document, which is a record of everything we spoke about, like, back during the drama last year. That's wild, man. It's so funny to see. We watched this play out live. We were covering it all. Mental. Higa insisted and forced a statement to disclaim that Rodriguez had assaulted plaintiff, edited down discussion of plaintiff's victimization, and would not cease importuning of plaintiff until Higa had dictated the language of the statement. Following, Higa would still not depart until the statement was published and posted online by plaintiff. Where's the defamation? I mean, yeah, I don't know enough about the law to be able to get down to the granular detail to point out, hey, look, this is where the defamation happened. It sounds like what this is doing is just building a broad case to point to the overall kind of point to this, because they talk about the emotional distress or something, right? Which I guess this is trying to highlight here. The defamation, because obviously this part I don't think would be the defamation. The defamation is going to come after in the public statements that were made about Adrianah Lee. That's going to be the defamation part. The defamation is highlighted in pink and coming up in the document. Okay. Throughout this time, Higa would speak of Rodriguez and Miss Rendino, stating that Rodriguez was Matt's rock, Matt's best friend, and that Ms. Rendino would be going live online soon, and so they had to figure this out. Afterward, Ms. Rendino sent a message to plaintiff stating that he felt responsible for Rodriguez, as if Rodriguez was his child. Ms. Rendino and Higa acted to aid and abet their friend Rodriguez by seeking out and intimidating and emotionally compromising his victim in order to limit the impact created by public disclosure of Rodriguez's wrongdoing. In this fashion, they participated in and became parties to his wrongful conduct. In the aftermath of the public disclosure, Ms. Rendino, Higa, and Rodriguez utilized their status in the public, as well as their association with OTK, to further damage plaintiff's credibility and reputation in the online game streaming industry. Yeah, this is what I said. I said they were going to talk about the blackballing stuff, and people were acting like I was a retard. But no, I think that the blackballing shit is going to be relevant to this, and that's going to be the stuff that's going to be considered to be defamation, surely. Whether that's got legs or not, I don't know, but, you know. Online gaming streaming industry by publicly treating the event in representations made to the followers and subscribers as being a non-event, something that no one cared about, and further describing it as low scale and not really a big deal. So this is what I keep saying to people. Whilst obviously I don't know if this is going to go to trial. Nation. Thank you for the sub. I think people seem to forget how crazy some of the content about this was and some of the statements that were made. And there's probably streams that happen that have been archived and stuff that we don't even like recall to memory because they're not the primary like thing that we're dealing with. But I'm certain that there were crazy things that were said on stream by streamers about all of this. Did Adrianah commit sexual misconduct? Was she convicted? Well, yeah, Henry, that's a good point, isn't it? Because one of the things that was said about Adrianah is that she sexually assaulted Sia. Did she sexually assault Sia? Like, I mean, I know she admitted to something. What was it she admitted to? And was it the same as what people said about it? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answers to that. I don't know the answers to those questions. But then if Sia didn't care, and then they were saying, but they were saying that something about it, like there's a lot I just don't think we know 100% to say, you know. with certainty, you know? So, you know, that's the thing that we need to bear in mind, because you can imagine a situation where, you know, Adrianah Lee is a fucking hot potato because of the Crazy Slick stuff, right? And with the seer thing, they see an opportunity to blackball, and they can make it about the seer thing.
Nation.
Do you see what I mean?
Vehemently gifted a tier 1 sub to million.
Thank you for the sub.
They have given 23 gift subs in the
It can
channel.
be, rather than, oh, you don't want to mess with her. Well, why not? What's the problem? Oh, she sexually assaulted Sia, and it's, you know, that could be the thing that's pointed to. Do you see what I mean? So, you know, look, all I'm saying is there's a lot more to happen here. Okay, I think that what you're seeing is a lot of fucking psyop shit, a lot of Mizkids that are hardcore running defense for Mizkif, and they're not coming into it with like an unbiased perspective.
Welcome
to come to the truth. Hey Topher, thank you for the gift of sub. Henry Resilient.
They have given 31 gift subs in the channel.
You know, I think most people here know where my biases lie. Obviously, I'm not a fan of OTK or any of those streamers, but I'm willing to accept that this could get thrown out. This could be dismissed before it even reaches the point of, you know, like a settlement discussion or something like that. I can accept that could happen. But it seems like Mizkids are completely 100% dismissing it out of hand without any sort of discussion or perception of the truth. You know what I mean? Anyway, something that no one cared about, and further describing it as low scale and not really a big deal. Further, allegations were made by defendants that plaintiff had committed sexual misconduct in order to falsely cloud the issue and further cause injury to plaintiff's reputation and credibility. Interesting angle. Cumulatively, Ms. Rendino, Higa and Rodriguez and the companies which they control and or for which they have representatives have acted to degrade and harm plaintiff's reputation in the online streaming community, to interfere with business sponsorships, and to thereby interfere with her credibility and relationship with her subscribers and followers, thereby subjecting plaintiff to economic harm and increased harassment.
Welcome to Chud.
Thank you for the sub.
Chud soino, Chud soino, Chud soino.
Plaintiff incorporates the foregoing paragraphs as if fully set forth herein. As described above, the defendants, acting in concert, engaged in acts that defamed plaintiff by falsely accusing her of illegal conduct, by causing harm to her reputation for honesty and credibility in the public, and attempting to downplay and obscure the harm done to plaintiff by Rodriguez. The statements made by defendants were false, were defamatory, and were made with malicious intent or with negligent disregard for the truth. At all times, defendants were acting both individually and in concert in a conspiracy to injure plaintiff while seeking to protect and preserve the reputation of Rodriguez. At all times, defendants were acting on behalf of and for the benefit of Rodriguez for the express purpose of preserving and even enhancing the reputation and online personal of Rodriguez, as well as Ms. Rendino, who is a value performer, owner, and representative of OTK. Oh my god. This is so based. Bear in mind, obviously, how much did Train go? Listen, I've never spoken to Train. I'm covering this because I'm interested in it. And because I hate OTK. And all those fucking streamers, are, you know. What I was going to say just then, though, to go against that a bit, is that this is obviously her side of the story in legalese stuff. So you need to bear in mind that this sounds based, but obviously they're going to have their counter story. If it reaches that stage, it could be, I don't know how a dismissal works. It could be that obviously they push for some dismissal. I guess, well, does anyone know? How does a dismissal work in terms of the legal perspective? Because surely the other side would need to provide some sort of evidence to demonstrate, well, this is like not worth the time of day. There's a phone call that corroborates her claims. I'll cover it soon. Is that the Destiny call? Is that the Destiny call where everyone talks about it? Anyway, I'm going to be keeping an eye on your coverage, so, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. File a motion or judge throws it out. It's unlikely to get dismissed. I think it's going to get past that stage. But then, I don't really know why. That's probably my bias speaking. But they would need to take that. Obviously, they can't just they you know, because the story is substantive and there's some stuff here that did happen. They can't just go, well, it's complete bullshit and baloney. The judge determines that. Very unlikely to get dismissed. Then ratified the declarative content of each other defendant. The conduct of the defendants, jointly and severally, was the approximate cause of damages suffered by plaintiff in a sum of not less than $600,000. Well, let's listen to this now, then we'll get back to it, okay?
Yesterday was ass.
Let's see. Yeah, yesterday was probably one of the worst days of my life. No, we didn't break up. Oh my god, you're so stupid. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, we could just talk about this right now. Fuck, I'm still sick. It's a giant elephant in the room. So if you don't know what happened, yesterday, Novaru, if you don't know who she is, you're welcome.
Right.
Are people really still on about this? Yeah, there's a court case coming up about it, probably. Or, like, at least legal proceedings, if not a court case.
Good. She went live and said a bunch of shit about Slick that was, a lot, I guess is the word. It was pretty malicious. And, she said a lot of things that was kind of fucked. So, yeah. Novaru went live and said a bunch of stuff about Slick. And
wait, hang on a minute. Just thinking back to this as well. Novaru only knew about this because Adrianah had told her. Is that right? Have I got that right? Or was she at the party?
It got on live trails. I woke up at 10 in the morning. Well, actually, I was already awake. And Maya, like, nudges me. And
it was
like,
her
look
party.
what the hell's happening.
To
I'm like,
Chud Nation.
Right, okay.
Chud Pepe.
Thank you for the sub, Blurch. Appreciate it. It was her party. So she saw what... Okay. So she wasn't told by Adrianah Lee. I mean, that's worse in a way. She saw what happened. So she would be based... Her statements are based on her seeing something happen. Is that right?
I couldn't believe it. You can ask Maya. It's true. It was the worst day of my life. I mean,
she wasn't in the room. She was claiming a rape occurred. Okay, well, in that case, forget Novaru. Jesus Christ. I need to watch her thing. I don't think I ever watched her coverage of it because it was like... based on hearsay. Anyway, let's just watch the video.
I mean, I was sitting there crying nonstop. I was having panic attacks. I didn't understand what the hell was happening. I thought I was going to lose Slick.
This is the last thing Novaru said about the situation.
And I was like, dude, if you want to, I'll back you up. Everyone else will back you up because, like, this isn't okay. But I did not mention her by name. I did not out her story. I don't think this whole victim mentality she has is even justified. Like, as somebody that has been sexually assaulted, I don't think Slick did anything. And
she got the call. Novaru got the call. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Everybody confirmed that Slick did not sexually assault her. So acting like she is like some kind of victim or just like I'm outing her story and trauma. I'm not going to say what she had wasn't trauma because that's her own subjective bias.
That's so funny, man.
But it's not okay to say that I was like telling that shit because I didn't. I did not name her. She had 100%.
What was her original statement on this? What was her original statement on this, man? She's the one that triggered all this drama starting in the first place.
And
welcome
if,
to Chud Nation.
You know,
how can they confirm she was not SA'd? Well, you know, she can't, can you? Listen, that's very fucking... Listen, it's extremely obvious
welcome
that is...
Chud Nation.
Thank you for the sub. She got the call. It's so obvious what happened there. How can she go from saying something that alluded to it to kick it all off to being like, well, no, nothing happened, guys. Come on.
It would be the second guy with bleach blonde hair leaving my house.
Did a 180.
You know, that it's like an every 6-month thing with me. So, yeah, I was pretty scared. I thought I was going to lose Slick. I thought I would have to kick him out of my house because I would not tolerate.
Did she ever go to the police or get a rape kit? I mean, a rape kit would have been useless because she didn't get actually raped. A rape kit only works if you, I think, have been penetrated because it can show signs of etc. Right? But if you've just been groped, a rape kit's going to be no good, I don't think. I don't know if she ever went to the police. I mean, she was asleep. The thing is, there was a question mark over how she, because I think at first it was like one of her friends downplayed it, but then later said something different. I can't really remember, to be honest.
Any of that shit. I'm not. If just, even though Slick's my best friend, I hang out with him literally every day. I'm not going to tolerate stuff like that, and I would totally kick him out of the house.
No worries, Henry Resilient. Have a good one, mate.
What I thought...
Thanks to you for getting all this sorted. I appreciate you.
Which was the worst, was that something horrible happened. So... we didn't really know what was happening because the girl who this happened to, which is Adrianah Lee, I mean, I don't know her for shit. I don't know her at all. The only person that kind of had word on it was Novaru, and Slick was just sitting there having panic attacks the entire time, freaking out, not knowing what's going to happen with his life. No, not Adrianah Chesnick, not her. But... I just want to say this, and me and my...
Once again, this just shows his way of thinking. It's all about what's going to happen to Crazy Slick. It's all about what's going to happen to Crazy Slick. Every single angle on this from Mizkif is poor Crazy Slick, poor Crazy Slick, poor Crazy Slick.
Totally agree on this. So... even
if you don't want to accept... even if you don't want to accept all of the claims about this, at the very least... Mizkif ran cover for someone who he eventually had to kick out of his house because he was a sex pest. That is just... you cannot deny that. You cannot fucking deny that part of it, right? Because eventually Mizkif did have to kick him out of the house over all this stuff. And he absolutely ran cover for him for a long time. It's like fucking undeniable.
What Slick did... was inexcusable. Like, I know he didn't do anything that was extreme, which was what a lot of us perceived, but what he did was inexcusable. What he did was, he's just, how would you describe it?
Let's back up a little bit, because we both thought a lot about what we're going to say. So I'm going to start from the top a little bit here, because it's feeling disjointed. So, yes, it all started with Nova saying that yesterday. I want to start by saying that she wasn't even there. And it's, everybody knows, right? It's super fucked up to bring up somebody else's experience like that without their permission. She didn't say her name. But we're very grateful to Adrianah for doing the tweet that she did, because she was forced into that position, and she talked about her past experiences, which is super brave and really, really hard to do.
She was also forced into that in, like, 6 hours.
Right.
Like, she didn't even know what was happening, and she was forced into tweeting the situation in 6 hours.
And so, in her doing that, everybody is so sorry to her that she had to go through that, because it's so unfair. But what she said in that statement, he said that what Slick did was inexcusable, and that's true, because Slick made people uncomfortable. Even though it wasn't his intention, he made people uncomfortable, you know, and he came across as creepy, which is not okay, and he doesn't want to make people uncomfortable. So he needs to take accountability for that, and he is taking accountability for that. But the whole situation yesterday was just super, super unfortunate. But the important thing that she said in her statement, and the reason that Slick is staying here and having the opportunity to take that accountability, is because Slick was creepy and made people uncomfortable, but he did not assault anybody, and he did not rape anybody, which I think a lot of people made the assumption that he did after the clip from Novaru yesterday.
By the way, that accountability that they're talking about involved no accountability whatsoever, and just involved endlessly and constantly defending Crazy Slick over every fucking angle of a criticism for his actions. God, do you remember the DMs? There were DMs of him, like, messaging girls and just being super like forward and trying to like flirt with them and shit. It was so cringe, man.
So
I mean, I did.
Right.
I mean, like, I look, I love Slick. He's my best friend. I mean, he's literally my rock. Maya knows how much he means to me. Like, I don't cry.
no, we were both crying.
We were both crying in my room. We just didn't know what to do because we didn't know what happened exactly. We thought, we kind of were basing it off of what Novaru said more so than what Adrianah said because we didn't have any information. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different opinions on the whole thing. People are saying like Slick didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter what his intentions were.
Yeah, there was
he
a
made
Twitch
people
chat too.
uncomfortable. He doesn't want to be a person that makes people uncomfortable, and so he's gonna work on it. But he did not assault anybody. He did not sexually assault anybody. He did not rape anybody. So just to make that super, super clear. But the whole thing, all of yesterday, the reason he wasn't live is because we were handling it all off stream, like it should have been handled in the first place, because nobody wanted that brought to light, including the person that was involved.
The most important person. She did
important
not
person.
want this to go. She was.
Yeah, why not? Why didn't she want it to come to light? Is it because she genuinely didn't on a personal level, or was she like afraid the consequences are going to come away?
She was dealing with this off stream. You know, she didn't want this to be there. Of course she wouldn't want this to be there. It's her thing. And the fact that someone brought it to light when it's not theirs is disgusting. I mean, and then I don't know, unblocking her that day to try to be like, oh, look, we're buddy, we're friends, when...
To be fair, did they know it was just actually assault at this point, if it was assault at all? I'm pretty sure that this was after the alleged pressure. No, it was, yeah, because this was after the Twitlonger was released, right? So this is after it's alleged that Mizkif sent Maya around to try and get Adrianah to downplay a story. So if it is true that they did that, then obviously they're saying things that they themselves have created. Do you see what I mean? Like, if it's true that Maya got Adrianah Lee to downplay a story, this is just a repetition of their downplaying of it that they've gotten Adrianah to get on board with.
That's just not the case.
I mean, we don't have to go into detail. I mean, you guys have seen everything. I'm sure you guys have seen all the stuff, but shame on that person for bringing it to light. It was a terrible situation for everybody yesterday, but again, I am very impressed with how Adrianah handled that. It's not an easy thing to do. Something that takes years to do, especially being thrown into it and not like willingly stepping into it. Insane. So
in the spotlight.
A lot of respect for her for that. But the whole thing was very unfortunate. Slick is okay. Everybody's okay.
Fiber, save the sub.
And he is going to take accountability and work on himself, because he feels awful. He does not want to make people uncomfortable.
He's done with it.
So one thing just that I need to know. People are saying it's unlikely to be dismissed at this stage. Why? Why is it unlikely to be dismissed? Does anyone know the answer to that? Because I'm willing to accept it's going to be dismissed. And in fact, I think that's a possible outcome. But other people I've seen in chat are saying it's not. Why? Is it because of the substantiveness of what's claimed, or like what's the reason?
He's done with that bit. He's done with doing the things he does. I told him that. I'm like, dude, you're done. Like, if you're staying here and you want to stay here, you're done with that shit. You're done with the creepy whatever you try to do. You're making people uncomfortable, and it just, I'm not dealing with it. He's not doing it, and it's not happening. It's over. If it ever happens again, yeah, he's gone. I mean, like, I will make sure of that. I love him to death. Slick is my best friend, but I don't take light to that. I don't take it easy. So
if what's being said here is true, that looks really bad for them, obviously. I mean, this is obviously treading over old ground. But especially seeing the legal stuff here, it gives it like a fresh context. The judge would need to think that the lawsuit alleges falsehoods in fact section. It is insufficient to prove the case, or it is done just to waste the time of the legal system. It is going to be dismissed based on the claim of defamation, a very tough standard to meet in Texas. But wait, no, hang on a sec. But that sounds like bullshit. Because one aspect of this is discovery is important, because then you can find out more information. And I think it says in one aspect of this, the discovery is going to enable to check whether defamation occurred or not. Because obviously the aspect of this is, well, how are we going to know if defamation occurred unless we have more information to come to a conclusion about that? Just because a case is unlikely just because a case is like uncertain or it's difficult to prove, doesn't mean it's going to be dismissed. That doesn't make that sounds crazy to me. Because otherwise, how would it work? If one party has got access to information that would prove they're guilty, and the other party says we're going to sue them, and then the judge goes, well, it's difficult to prove, so we're not going to take it anywhere. It's like, well, but if you do, I'd be able to find the information that I need to prove that this happened, right? That's the way I see it. It seems crazy that they would just dismiss it and go, defamation's hard to prove. If that's the case, how does any defamation case proceed forward in the court? Yes, Chud, you're correct. That's why it's extremely unlikely to get dismissed. Teolola, do you know something about this? You sound like you know a little bit about this. Discovery happens after the answer and after a motion dismiss happens. What's going to happen is they will file an answer where they describe the seer situation and say that they believe that she did it. If Adrianah doesn't deny that, then the case will go to summary judgment since there will be no defamation if they believed it was true. The seer shit is what people should be looking into. I'm only a student, okay? I can show you Bonker's case and you can compare. Does this mean we'll see the chat logs? If it is considered to be valid to be seen by a court, obviously discovery happens at some point in the process. But obviously, I'd imagine that the people involved are not going to want to go down that route. So if it is considered to have merit to be seen by the court, or however it's referred to, I would presume that they would want to settle. I would presume that they would want to settle before that gets to that stage, right? That's possible, right? Okay, the reason the seer shit is so important is what it seems like is they're claiming that them saying that she sexually assaulted Sia is the defamation because they said that knowing it was a lie in order to financially harm her. Didn't she admit it? Well, that's the thing that I'm a bit uncertain on because I thought that she had said. What was the original? Oh, is this the original clip?
Them making out in the bathroom of the Airbnb, and not in the bathroom, sorry, the kitchen, and like she clearly was like very just like fucking out of it, and he was like making out with her, and I was like, damn, that's kind of weird, like making out with someone that drunk, and I don't think he was that drunk. And then at the end of the night, she passed out in one of the Airbnb beds, like she just passed out, and he, from her side of the story, again, I didn't witness this, but this is what I was told right after my birthday party, is that he went into the room and he started, I heard this from 3 people, by the way. He started like touching her and was like, I don't know exactly what his intentions were, but I just know that he was touching her, and everyone was like, dude, stop, like she's trying to fucking relax, she's drunk, like it's weird, like don't fucking touch somebody when she's drunk, and like especially when you're just making out with her, like I don't know what the intention there was, but everyone that was there, the 3 people told me that they were very uncomfortable with the situation.
Thank you. Right now, appreciate it. She 100% got the call. Come the fuck on. She had to have. She's gone from this to, oh, Crazy Slick didn't do anything wrong in that other clip that we watched. That's fucking insane, man. She got Maya Hegard. Absolutely. This was her original statement. Sorry, I know we literally just watched it, but just for comparison, can we just compare it to like...
Scared.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, dude, if you want to, I'll back you up. Everyone else will back you up because like this isn't okay. But I did not mention her by name. I did not out her story. I don't think this whole victim mentality she has is even justified. Like, as somebody that has been sexually assaulted, I don't think Slick did anything, and everybody confirmed that Slick did not sexually assault her. So acting like she is like some kind of victim, or just like I'm outing her story and trauma. I'm not gonna say what she had wasn't trauma because that's her own subjective bias, but it's not okay to say that I was like telling that shit because I didn't. I did not name her. She had 100%.
Jesus Christ, man. That is fucking so explicit. It's so obvious, man. It's so obvious. It's so fucking clear what happened there. She went from saying what she said to saying Crazy Slick did nothing wrong. Give me a fucking break, man. God, it's all so fucking... Anyway, let's continue. Okay. Defendants engaged in a course of conduct that intentionally and knowingly sought to and succeeded in inflicting emotional distress on plaintiff. Defendant's conduct was jointly and severally undertaken with the intent to harm plaintiff as part of a concerted action to attack and degrade plaintiff's reputation and credibility, to cause emotional distress to plaintiff, and to place her in fear for her career and of ostracization among her professional peers. Yeah, you make a good point, actually. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Is that a crime in and of itself? Or is it just a broader part of this case? I don't really know that bit. So as to bolster the reputation and credibility of Rodriguez and all other defendants as a result of their association with him. Rodriguez sexually molested plaintiff, and the goal of defendants has been to cast doubt on the veracity and credibility of plaintiff and her statements concerning the wrongdoing committed by Rodriguez. It's a tort. What's a tort? What's a tort? What is a tort? Damn. Maybe Mr. Girl is right about us streamers. We're in a lot of trouble, guys. The civil equivalent of a crime. Right, so it's a civil thing. Okay, got it. I've been torted. Guys, I'm getting torted right now. I'm getting torted. I'm getting torted. Okay, tort law is the area of law that covers most civil suits. Okay, got it. God, there's so much to this, isn't there? Jesus. Guys, I'm getting torted. Someone called me a retard pedo. I'm getting torted. Anyway, am I using that right? Defendant's conduct was knowing and intentional and resulted in plaintiff suffering significant emotional distress. The acts of defendants were extreme in their efforts to diminish the credibility of plaintiff's statements regarding the sexual molestation committed by Rodriguez, and in defendant's effort to bolster the reputation and standing of Rodriguez and all other defendants who each have associated with him. The conduct of defendants as set forth above is an approximate cause of damages to plaintiff in amount of not less than $600,000. In this conduct, all defendants acted jointly and severally, in concert with each other, and either joined in, adopted, or ratified the various individual statements made. Torture interference.
Were there points that you told streamers or were aware of that streamers were told not to hang out with Adrianah?
The only time I ever did not want to hang out with Adrianah is we went to 6th Street and she was groping Sear, and it was very fucking weird. So we stopped hanging out with her, and then that was it.
Okay, so I've been provided with something for this. Does everybody know what Sear's real name is? I'm not doxing anything if I release his name, am I? Okay, people are saying Vincent. Okay, cool.
I was just informed on what I did, how I acted on Saturday. I just want to apologise if I made you uncomfortable in any way. That was never my intention. All the best. It's all good. So this doesn't prove anything in any significant way. It just says that whatever happened, Sia was fine to just draw a line under it, right? At the very least. Is there anything that Adrianah Lee said beyond this? Because this isn't an admission of sexual assault or groping. So is there another clip or video of Adrianah Lee saying she groped or sexually assaulted him? Does anyone know of that? Or is this it? Yeah, because if this is what is being used to justify calling Adrianah Lee a groper or sexual assaulter, then this is very fucking flimsy. And to take this and to go to the point where you're telling people not to hang out with Adrianah Lee because she's a groper or sexual assaulter, that's pretty fucking flimsy. And to me, that would suggest that would bolster the case of defamation. But obviously, you know, that's just my layman's reading of it, obviously. No, there isn't even a clip statement of Sia ever saying anything about being uncomfortable. Only Mizkif and his Reddit army ever claimed that. So listen to what was said as well.
Points that you told streamers or were aware of that streamers were told not to hang out with Adrianah.
The only time I ever did not want to hang out with Adrianah is we went to 6th Street and she was groping Sear, and it was very fucking weird. So we stopped hanging out with her, and then that was it.
Okay, so I've been...
So that's the claim that was made, and I'm pretty sure that there are other claims that have been made about Adrianah Lee and Sia. So, okay, wait a second. If it's true that Mizkif and others were going around saying that Adrianah Lee groped or sexually assaulted Sia, and that text message is the best evidence they've got to perpetuate that claim, in which Sia says it's all good, that to me seems a pretty flimsy reasoning to go around and say that. I just listen. All I'm saying here is that to me it seems pretty likely that the Sia thing was used as an excuse to blackball Adrianah, right? It's like, after all this crazy slick stuff happened, that was like a gift because they could use that as an excuse to blackball Adrianah. But if it's based on not factual information, then yeah, that could potentially bolster the defamation claim. Unless I'm missing something, that seems like the kind of logical reasoning that they're using. It's not a conspiracy. Is it a conspiracy? Really? Does that not just follow quite easily? I don't think that's a conspiracy. Because what evidence or what, you know... Because the message as well says about making them feel uncomfortable. What? Because people were saying Adrianah apologized for it. I thought that meant like she'd publicly gone and said, I groped Sia and I'm sorry for that. But it seems, unless there's something else, more so like, hey, sorry if I made you uncomfortable the other night. Which doesn't really... Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know that. Listen, there's going to be OTK people running defense. It's fine. I'm used to it now and I don't care. They can just stay mad. It's not a problem. None of this is clear-cut. None of this is 100%. None of this proves anything with certainty. Okay? All I'm saying is, I think there's little details being dropped here and there, looking at the old stuff, where there could be some, like, yes, defamation is hard to prove, and it's not a guarantee that it's going to be proven. But I think at the very least, these things that are coming through, I think demonstrate that at the very least, there is merit.
Okay, that's wonderful.
To have a look at in court.
How do I make money off depressed people?
You and me are on the same page. I appreciate your coverage and
Hey.
candor. Facts over feelings will make this case. My
Thank you,
squibs are
Emery,
in
for the
their
420.
feelings.
Yeah, no, sure. I just think that there's little details being dropped where you're like, okay, this actually could have more merit than a lot of people are willing to admit. But why did Destiny get that text message for exactly? Because I think the point that's being made is that Mizkif is still in that call trying to push this narrative that, oh, we stopped hanging out with Adrianah Lee because she groped, essentially sexually assaulted Sia, groping a sexual assault, right? So he's still making that claim in that call. But the idea that she groped him is perhaps an excessive claim made by Mizkif, and the idea is, well, she did this, so we don't want to support her anymore. Whereas the truth could be the reason they're blackballing her is because of the crazy slick stuff. Right? Do you see what I mean? Yes, I'll cover the Destiny Lab stuff, don't worry. Don't you worry, that's fucking YouTube, that's got YouTube written all over it. And again, listen, I'm not saying that because I'm saying this case is 100, I'm not a fucking idiot, right? It's not 100% guaranteed this case is going to be a slam dunk and people are going to get, you know, definitely found guilty or whatever it is. No, what is it? Liable or something in civil court. Anyway, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's little details here that I think at the very least make it less likely that it's going to get dismissed out of hand. The more that because I was probably a bit more willing to accept the idea that it could just get dismissed. But as you see more, I think the chances of this getting dismissed out of hand are quite limited. And I think the likelihood is this is going to proceed past that point, most likely to some sort of settlement before it gets to court, probably before the discovery stage. Okay. That's probably the outcome. I can't imagine this is going to go all the way to court. But the thing is, when someone settles out of court, that is not an admission of guilt on the part of the defendant, but that will be enough in the court of public opinion to make them look bad. So that's based as far as I'm concerned. Because that's imagine if they settle that. That would look terrible. That would look so bad. Even though it's, you know. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, maybe there's a technical reason it gets thrown out. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. They will file a motion to dismiss with prejudice. If the motion is denied, they'll settle. Okay, what does that mean? A dismissal with prejudice means the ruling is the final judgment in the case. The dismissal prohibits the prosecutor from refiling the charges. So when they file this, though, what will they say in order to... what will they say? If this were to go to trial and it was open for visitors, would you fly over to report on it? That sounds like exactly the kind of thing I should do, man. That sounds like such good content. I could afford, obviously, with the Mr. Girl money, I could afford to do it too, and I might well get the money back through you know, covering it. In Texas, imagine me going to Texas to cover a court case. That's like proper journalist shit. Anyway, listen, enough fantasies. Let's just get back to the situation, okay? Me and Henry can go down there, do some joint coverage of it. Enough fantasies, though. OTK will say they never made a statement. Mizkif Enterprise will do the same, but Mizkif, the person, and Maya and Slick will have to face it. Yeah, it doesn't seem like OTK are really on the hook for this. Well, I thought they might be because of statements they've made, but they don't really seem to be involved based on this statement. They've not really claimed that OTK have done anything, it seems. Just that they like are affiliated with the people that are saying these things. Anyway, plaintiff incorporates the foregoing paragraphs 10 through 33 as if fully set forth herein. As set forth herein above, the conduct of defendants, including the publishing of direct statements online and the use of innuendo and imitation, was done with the intent to cause harm to plaintiff and her relations with her existing followers, viewers, subscribers, and sponsors, as well as the further intent to interfere with future relationships with prospective followers, viewers, subscribers, and sponsors, so as to inhibit the expansion and growth of plaintiff's status in the online streaming community. Defendants' conduct was false, defamatory, and therefore independently torturous in nature. Well, quite right. I've not heard it if there is, but we'll see. Guess we'll see, won't we? Anyway, further, defendants' conduct seriously and significantly damaged plaintiff's existing income stream and the future growth of a business, leading to a significant loss of revenue. Such damages are estimated to be in the amount of not less than $600,000. I can't imagine a Texan boomer judge taking this seriously. Okay, I feel like we need to read this after because I don't know if this is Texas or not. I think people have got perceptions about judges that they're boomer and out of touch. But remember the guy in the what was it? The Carl Rittenhouse case. There was some technical piece of information, and although he used a bit of wrong language, he actually had like a reasonably fair understanding of what was going on. He got mocked for the pickles thing, but he was obviously knew that he'd misspoke, and he corrected himself, didn't he? But judges, I feel like people think that judges are going to look at this and be like, "Oh, what's all that?" Like, judges are going to want to try and understand what's going on because they're in a, you know, they probably got a lot of pride in what they do. They do things correctly. They don't want to just dismiss things out of hand because they don't understand it. If they don't, I mean, and also they've laid it out in a way to make it make sense. So you don't have to know what Twitch is. You just have to know that Adrianah Lee was using a service to make money, and her ability to make money was impeded by potentially defamatory statements by these other parties. Like, that is the bread and butter that a judge is going to want to understand, right? So yeah, I think that a judge, whilst they might not understand, will want to try and understand what's going on in order to be able to deal with it in the best possible way. Anyway. Plaintiff's injury resulted from defendant's malice, which entitles plaintiff to exemplary damages pursuant to Texas Civil Practices and Remedies, Code Section 41.003A. As set forth above, defendants acted with intent and malice to cause harm to plaintiff, plaintiff's reputation and credibility, and to plaintiff's prospective business relations with her sponsors, followers, and subscribers, while intentionally inflicting emotional distress upon plaintiff. The egregious actions of defendants mandate the grant of exemplary damages jointly and severally against all defendants. Plaintiff demands a jury trial and tenders the appropriate fee with this petition. Ooh, where's the money coming from? Wherefore, plaintiff asks that the court issue citation for defendants to appear and answer, and that plaintiff be awarded a judgment jointly and severally against defendants for actual damages, exemplary damages, pre-judgment and post-judgment interest, court costs, and all other relief to which plaintiff is justly entitled at law or equity. There we go. So that is the document. And just to remind everyone, that document was provided by a channel, Henry Resilient, who covers a lot of legal stuff. He was covering the XQC Adept stuff, but then I believe the case got sealed. But he covered that for like literally months. It's fucking wild. But that's Henry's channel if you want to go check them out. And they're going to be doing, if you want to catch up the latest, they're probably going to be covering stuff. I'll cover it off the back of their coverage at some point. But that's where to get it first, because they're coming forward with the hot information. No worries, Henry. No worries. There's Henry in chat. You can check out their Twitch channel too. Just got here, summarize. So the summary is, Adrianah Lee is taking Mizkif, Crazy Slick, Maya Higa, OTK, and Mizkif Industries to court for defamation. It seems like there's merit to what she's claiming. Whether or not it's going to be considered from a legal perspective to be absolute is obviously to be decided. Unless they can provide like some sort of substantive proof in regards to this claim about Sia, I think this is probably not going to be dismissed, and it will probably settle out of court. That's my guess. But you know, bear in mind, I could be made to take the L on that. I'm not a legal expert. I'm only going off my layman's understanding and perspective on this, but it just seems to me like there's enough here. And you need to go into all of it, but I believe there's probably enough here to point to the idea that this concept of Adrianah Lee sexually assaulting Sia was used as an excuse to blackball Adrianah Lee, when in reality it was probably because of the Crazy Slick stuff. And unless the other side can demonstrate more substantively the Sia accusation, there's probably more merit here than I think some people are giving it credit for. That's my rough take. Please let this trial be streamed. Civil cases aren't a civil case. Oh wait, hang on a sec. Fucking Johnny Depp's case. I don't think it's going to reach court. I think that she's going to settle. The only reason it would reach court is if Adrianah Lee is like extremely persistent to wanting to take this to a courtroom. I don't know. But I think the reason this will go to because the thing is, there's going to be information that you're going to find out in discovery that is potentially going to demonstrate the defamation. So I don't think a judge can. The idea that a judge is going to dismiss this because it's hard to prove, it seems crazy to me, because you need to go to discovery to prove it. And it seems crazy that a judge would just go, "Oh no, we're not even going to get to that stage because this is hard to prove." Seems stupid. But yeah. Yes. Yeah, sure, Henry. Drop me a DM and we can do something together for sure. I can educate you in the ways of LSF and tell you what's what. Because I think you just set up your Reddit account. You're going to get a lot of heat covering this. I can tell you how to deal with it, okay? It's mainly to ignore it, but... Right. Anyway, guys, yes, it's the weed number, correct. Right. Thank you very much, Henry, for getting these documents. That was a great segment. Now I think it's time. Dalaban versus Mizkids. I think people that like Destiny, there are at least some people that are willing to be critical of Destiny's actions. And you see that in like the subreddit and stuff like that. Are they annoying? Yes. Some of them. But I think Mizkids are just so resolute in their defense of Mizkif in a way that just isn't the same for Destiny's side. It's just an easy choice. The Mizkids are worst.